Toxic motivation versus positive motivation. Now, I told y'all we're going to get a little better with the whiteboard as we go. Hopefully you can see more of me in this video. And we moved the whiteboard and we're still figuring it out. I know there's still a glare, but again, let's focus on the lesson, okay? Because this is a good one. Toxic motivation versus positive motivation. In this video, we're going to be going through low vibrational emotions, high vibrational emotions, how they impact our well-being and also play into our long-term sustainable ability to be successful, happy, maintain relationships, all the holistic view. So as you can see, this guy's sad because this is motivated off of toxic motivation. This one's happy because they're motivated off of positive motivation. So let's talk about the difference between the two. Cleaning this whiteboard is a thing. Before we got to the video, I spent quite some time cleaning it all off. I'm new to the whiteboard. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but it's definitely efficient for teaching you guys about patterns and all of the charts and stuff like that. So let's think about this. Let's take a look. All right. This is how I like to think about it. And you're going to have to think about your upbringing here because this is a basketball court. I don't even know what a basketball court looks like. This is a hoop. That's a hoop. That's a hoop. Okay. And this is you playing basketball. You're neutral right now. Playing basketball on the court. Here's one parent. Cheering for you. And here's another parent. Cheering for you. You can call this a friend too, whoever you want. Okay. This parent, let's start with this parent. Yeah, this parent, when they cheer for you on the court and you missed a shot, the basketball, I'm not as bad at art as I thought, actually. Like, this isn't that bad. So this parent, when you miss the shot, says, you suck. Do better. Be better. I can't believe you missed the shot. And they say all this stuff to try to motivate you. Can you guess which kind of motivation this is? This is the toxic motivation. Okay? That's obvious. But some light bulbs might be going off in your head as to how you talk to yourself on a daily basis, but also maybe how you grew up and how the people around you tried to motivate you or tried to support you. And it's in ways that maybe did get you far and helped you become successful, because this certainly will push anybody out of fear and out of low vibrating emotions to be successful. But this, when motivated by this person, you become successful or you perform out of fear, anxiety, anger, maybe even shame, guilt. This is what we call survival mode emotions. Survival mode. Okay? If you've ever looked at Dr. What's his name? I say it all the time. Why am I blanking on it? The Map of Consciousness. I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'm blanking on the name. But if you look at these emotions, you will recognize that they vibrate at very low vibrations, which keeps you stuck in this survival mode and keeps you in these types of results. So these types of results are when you're in survival mode, nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever enough. I'm not enough. I can be better. Be better. Okay, this is what I call the hamster wheel of doom. You're running on a hamster wheel and you wonder why you're hitting burnout and your relationships are struggling and your health is struggling and you just can't understand why it is that you're here and you're stuck and you may be successful or you may not be successful. You may be stuck in a place where you're constantly beating yourself up because you heard all of this when you were younger, right? When you hear all of these, and that's what happens with a lot of my clients, right? Is they hear all of this growing up because simply it's not always their parents' fault. It's not anybody's fault once we become an adult. Because once we become an adult, we have all of the power to change it. There's books, there's YouTubes like this, there's lots of information out there for you to change these paradigms, right? But what you have to understand is that the words in the narratives that you play out in your head over and over and over again are not your own. So when caregivers or when people around you put pressure on you or constantly make you feel guilty for the success that you're having or for the things that you want or for the mistakes you make and shame you for the mistakes you make rather than going up here. This is life-changing. This is life-changing. Okay. If you've ever had a critical parent too, somebody who just every time you want to do something or you do something like that was something I had to go through. Everything was a criticism because one of my caregivers loved control or loved to feel needed. And so everything I did was just not good enough. Oh yeah, but you could do it this way. Oh yeah, but like, are you sure you want to do it that way? Or are you sure you don't want to do that? Or you should do this or you should do that. Like nothing was ever good enough. And I lacked autonomy. And I fell into people pleasing and all of these low vibrating emotions. Like I was craving success through fear, through trying to get validation, through anxiety, anger that nothing was ever good enough. I was shameful. I felt guilty for always wanting to be better because somebody, like I always had somebody kind of tugging on my leg when I tried to climb the ladder. So really look at this and ask yourself, like, is this something that you're stuck in? Are you being rooted for by this side of the court? Or are you being rooted for by this side of the court, which is you miss the shot or you just starting the game, you're just getting warmed up, you've got this. I believe in you. Keep going. You can get through the hard stuff. Try again. Right? In a lot of cases, this is what we needed growing up. We needed to hear that. We needed to hear, like, I've got your back. Like, you've got this. I believe in you. Keep going. Like, you can get through it. Try it again. I believe in you. And that's what we needed. And now what we need to give ourselves. Because as an adult, we're able to give this to ourselves because what this puts us in a state of growth, sustainable growth, a state of peace, a state of faith, a state of joy, right? And in love. And these are the emotions that we want to feel. We want to merge away from survival mode, just trying to get validation, just trying to prove, just trying to gain that love and satisfaction from whomever it was somewhere in our past, to now, when you shift your mindset to giving yourself all of this, then you're going to enter a new state. And here's the thing, here's the kicker. Some people don't know how to merge away from here and into here because here is boring. Here is extremely stimulating. Oh my gosh, I have something to prove. I need to be better. I need to do better. And there's this constant dopamine anxiety rush running through your body. And that's what makes you want to be successful. When I work with clients on releasing the addiction to chaos or the addiction to suffering and moving into a state of peace and joy, the journey becomes, I'm rather bored. I'm bored here. I'm not driven by this. But I can promise you and assure you that the practice in learning to be motivated from a state of this, you get there. You really do. You practice it. It's a practice, and it's a shift. And it really is like, how do you want to live your life, right? Like, do you want to live in a state of fear and anxiety forever? Wow, I butchered that. Or do you want to live in a state of high vibrating emotions? And again, we'll go back to the map of consciousness where it shows these higher vibrating emotions. They call greater experiences into your life. They call a whole new experience into your life. And at the end of the day, through money and success and through relationships, through all of that, we're only seeking an emotion. That's it. The world is emotionally based. But we've lost somewhere along the line, we've lost all of those skills. So we're getting them back. And that's what we're doing right here. And what we really want to do is learn to be motivated and driven towards faith, love, joy. But it is not our comfort zone. But we can, as adults, we can make it. We can make it to this new state. Okay? Let's look at the pattern of it. If you know me, you know my work, you understand patterns a bit, right? If you're new here, we break down limiting patterns in a way that you can understand it, you can conceptually see it, so that you can break out of your limiting patterns and create new patterns, because the world is made of patterns. Every single thing we do is a pattern, some positive, some limiting, some neutral. All those habits and all of the things that we do. So let's look at a pattern. When it comes to toxic motivation, let's limiting belief, fear. This can look differently in a lot of ways, but let's figure one out together. Outcome. Okay, here we are. Limiting belief here is more than likely something along the lines of, I'm not enough, I can't do anything right. For me, it was, I'm not wanted, or I'm not good enough. That was something that showed up for myself that imposed this addiction to chaos. So let's just put, I can't do anything right. I do wonder if you guys can hear this board shaking as I write on it. Probably. I'll see that in the YouTube. The fear here is more than likely letting somebody down. The behavior, people pleasing, something like overperformance, giving a lot. That's people pleasing, but just like overgiving. And then in this case is you end up burnt out, resentful, and really like upset with yourself too. Like when you give and you overgive and you overdo, and you end up burnt out, resentful, and in the same place. Essentially, what happens is we just confirmed our limiting belief. I can't do anything right, because then you end up here burnt out and resentful again, stuck in this pattern, not understanding why I can't do anything right. So you see, this is your loop of doom here. And we can, it's addiction to chaos, but we're just going to say like a toxic motivation. Okay. Motivation. Yeah. Okay. Now, we want to get from here to a new empowering pattern. So, shedding. Okay. Positive. Okay. Here's my perfectionism coming out. Toxic motivation needs to be in red. Toxic motivation. Okay. Not good. We don't like it there. But we're going to come over here to, all right, positive motivation, because we're going to map this whole thing out. Okay, smiley. All right. Okay. What do we have to do here? Let's put this one in blue. Process. The process. Process would be to heal. That's the first step in the breaking of the pattern. Heal this limiting belief. That means we need to go all the way back to what created this event, and we need to feel it. Heal and feel. We need to feel it and we need to release it. So we need to sit with these emotions. And it's interesting because you'll hear a lot of people say you don't need to go back to the past. And I just think they're dead wrong. Really, I think they're dead wrong, because I've tried everything. And I've worked with clients since 2020, and I've mastered this process with clients. I got to tell you, like, I've seen unreal results in people's income, in people's personal life, like life shifting, new, like becoming a new person. And if you do not go back and release the emotions from experiences that you hadn't done, that creates trapped emotions. And when those trapped emotions are stuck inside of your body, they cause this charge in your body, and that's what creates your frequency, which is your energy. That's where we talk about attraction, right? When you're talking about attracting your clientele or attracting relationship partners or attracting money, those trapped emotions hold a charge, like we see in the chart for the map of consciousness. And that charge is what's radiating from you. We want to get away from that low vibrating charge and into a new higher vibrating charge, so that you can start to attract new and amazing things. That's when manifestation comes into play. That's when your subconscious mind creates your reality. Your subconscious mind is what holds all of the limiting beliefs. So that's what we're working with right now. Here in this first step is all subconscious mind work. I can't do anything. Heal and feel. I love inner child work for this one, because we're healing all of those moments. A lot of movement, somatic work is required here. Crying and just releasing. Releasing is huge. We really want to let this go. It's like when you have a good cry and you're like, it feels so much better. Like, that's what happens when we move through this part. And people try to skip this part. But if you watch my videos before, you know that's what creates sociopaths, narcissists. We don't want to bypass the healing, because if we bypass the healing, we just end up stuck in performance mode and acting like everything's fine when it's not. So heal and feel. And then we can go on to the mindset shift. So that's when we can start to rewire letting someone down. So this is when we come more into the conscious mind and we look at some logical understanding. So what I like to do here is make a list. What actually happened? Versus what story I made up. Okay. And that's when we start to list out a few of the things that we get more in touch with reality, the logical reality, like what actually happened in the situation where not wanting to let somebody down. Maybe my caregiver put so much pressure on me because they were trying to make me a better version of what they were, right? And they were projecting. So we could say caregiver was projecting. What story made that about me? I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. And then we get real grounded in reality. We want to get really, really grounded in like what actually happened, the truth. This is where we find truth in what actually happened. And we can start to look at the situation logically and make perspective shifts. That's step. This is step number 1. Step number 2. Okay. People pleasing. This is the most important part because you have to shift the behavior. Okay, because every time you people please, you just sent your brain a message, I can't do anything right, or I'm not good enough, right? Because you keep putting other people before you, and then you end up in that burnt out and resentful phase, and you just keep confirming your limiting belief. So what if you do not change the behavior, you will continually, everything that we do sends our brain a message. Every single thing that we do sends our brain a message. Didn't make my bed this morning? Okay, I don't care about my bed being made and starting my day off organized and whatever else, right? Like these little things, right? I want to go on a diet, but I just ate something else outside of my diet, just sent my brain a message. My health is not important, right? So to stop people pleasing would probably be really hard at this stage. And this is where we like baby steps. Baby steps. Okay? So, in order to stop people pleasing, we'll probably start with taking a breath and saying, let me get back to you. I don't know if I can do that right now. Let me think about that. Let me call you tomorrow. So that you give yourself some time instead of going straight to like yes to everything, pleasing all the time, doing what everybody else wants you to do. You start taking some space. That would be the first step, is just learning how to like take space. And then you get into your discernment. Then you start to gain clarity on what it is that you really want. People who are in this stage have a really hard time of understanding like what do I actually want in life. So this shift will really, really help. Shift the behavior. That one's pretty simple, but the most important because it's going to send your brain that new message. Okay? So the new outcome should become, rather than burnt out and resentful, empowered. You're feeling really empowered. That's what I'm thinking. Plug it in what you think is best for you, or what you would like to feel, or what you would like to get as an outcome. But I know after moving through all that, what I would probably feel is really empowered. And with long-term sustainable success and energy. Right? So, that goes over there. I did this last time too. It's true. That's how you would feel. But what you really need to do here is receive. I before E, accept after C. Okay, this is what you need to do in this stage, is receive the new desired outcome. This becomes kind of tough for people because after all of this, your life changes dramatically. Your life is going to change a lot. And so you're going to have to allow yourself to receive that shift. That means sometimes people end up going through breakups. They end up making new friends and letting go of old friends, setting better boundaries with family members, starting a new job, like leaving old things aside in order to receive a new life. And that's why people get stuck, because it's like, okay, I'm now faced with a new realm of life that I get to merge into. And do I want to do that? And that becomes really scary. So that's going to be up to you, but that's something I definitely have held clients through, and it's not easy. It's also not easy for me to watch, because sometimes I'm like, I've been there. It's tough. It's really tough. So I'm not going to say this stuff's easy, but it's simple to understand when it's laid out, right? All right, let's get over here now. The new belief will become, I can't do anything right, to I believe in myself. And my abilities. Achoo! Oh boy, and my abilities. Okay. The mindset shift, the fear, letting someone down. We then want to shift it to, I want to go straight to like, boundaries are attractive. Like, things like that. Like, that's a shift in my mind that I would make. And again, this is all going to be tailored to you and what you want. But to give you some guidance, like, I would just say, like, that was something I had to learn. Like, I thought boundaries were unattractive. Like, I thought they were bad and mean, but like, boundaries are good. Boundaries are good. And people respect me more and appreciate me more. When I speak my truth. Okay. Speak my truth. Okay. Great. All right. People pleasing or over giving now looks like conscious conversations. I am really butchering these words here. Conversations. How much do you like write in a day, right? Like, now that I'm writing on a whiteboard so much, it's like I'm never forced to try to spell things. Like, I have autocorrect on my phone and my computer. How scary that we never really write. This is probably good for me. Conscious conversations. And this could look like, with some clients, making lists, writing in a journal, taking on a practice. It really depends on the person and what they like. Everybody's very different. That's what I love about being a mindset coach, is that like I get to analyze people's brains and understand like, okay, what practices are going to be best for you because of like how you operate. But taking on a practice to gain clarity. And make decisions. Because remember, this person really struggles to make decisions and speak up for themselves, right? People pleasing, over giving, people stuck in this whole like with a limiting belief of like, I can't do anything right, or I'm not enough. Yeah, I struggle with that. Okay. So receive new desired outcome. This is just gonna be empowered state. Embrace the newness. But yeah, your new reality, your new outcome is just going to be, you're in an empowered state and you're embracing this newness, this new life. So that's what this looks like. And one more piece to this, because I know, we already brought up the chart, So you know what the chart looks like. But let's just, here it is. Why do I keep losing this little guy? Let's just kind of look at what kind of shift it makes to go from toxic motivation to positive motivation emotionally. Because if you don't change emotionally, vibrationally, no, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters, because the emotions of, the language of the world, the language of the subconscious, which is the language, which is what creates our reality, our emotions. And if you don't have a little bit of a handle on your emotions, then you're going to struggle. You're going to have a hard time. And they don't teach you this stuff in school. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you, because I've read hundreds, probably like 100 books on this stuff. I've worked in human behavior with kids with PTSD, shifting their emotional states, rewiring their behaviors. And I worked in neurological education as a neurological education specialist with kids with neurological disabilities, rewiring their mind. So I know a thing or two. I don't know everything, but I know a thing or two. And what I'm teaching you, I've studied, applied to my life, guided my clients to apply to their life, and it works. Really works. So let's go back. Let's go back to, here's my guy, not happy. Okay. And here's my other friend. Happy as a clam on high tide. I'm from Rhode Island, so people say things like that, and then people get really concerned when I say that, but I think it makes perfect sense. Happy as a clam on high tide. Okay. This person is living in grief, anger, shame, guilt, anxiety. Yeah, okay. We'll stay there. All of these emotions, fear needs to go here. Fear and anxiety go hand in hand. All of these emotions block your flow to money. Even if you have money, you'll feel like you don't have money, because money is energy. So are emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. The emotion that you're feeling, the vibration, the frequency, that is an emotion. And money is energy. Love is energy. Sex is energy. All of these things are energy. And if you are energetically vibrating here, what do you think that's going to do for your life? Even if things were good, you wouldn't even allow yourself to feel the goodness, because you're bogged down with these low vibrating emotions. Now, when we shift, we can start getting up to places like courage. Just you watching this video and paying attention to this and actually thinking about applying this to your life, that's courage, right? Willingness. Really, really important. Courage, you start getting up to a place of reason. This is where we start to see logic and understanding in our day-to-day. Even neutrality. And then we can get up to places like joy and pleasure. Because I can't tell you how many people are averse to feeling joy and pleasure. They're absolutely averse to it. Every time something is really good, they'll sabotage it because they're afraid it's all going to go away. So they just stay here because it's more predictable. But really, it's a practice. It's an expansion journey too. You may notice if you don't sabotage it, your energy system might even sabotage it. Let me tell you a little story about joy and pleasure. I went through a breakup. Oh, I got a marker on my wall. Okay. That's not that fun. I went through a breakup. And this breakup in particular unlocked something inside of me that sent me into a dark night of the soul. It brought up all of my trauma. And I was in a place where I was willing to face it. And I was also in a place where I had the space to face it, which was good. And I moved through that for about 4 months. I was absolute suffering. I had migraines. I was crying every day. I was not well. But I'll tell you, I would do it again. I would do it again if I had to. That was the very thing I was afraid of ever going through, is feeling that amount of pain. And I wanted to throw up every day. I couldn't eat. I couldn't even look into the light because of the migraines. I could barely function. The only thing I enjoyed was a hot shower. And when I was coming out of it, I was starting to learn how to feel emotions like these. And the courage got me pretty far. Reason, neutrality, I was a little comfortable with those emotions by then. And I got to joy and pleasure. And I wanted to go visit my friend in London. So I shut down my social media. I created the space. My friend was gonna, she lives there, so she was gonna just like create the itinerary. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to show up. And I I think just leaving the country, or just being in that state of like I'm fully taken care of, I also gave myself like an excess amount of money to be able to spend, like more than I typically would, just so I could feel that abundance. And I tell you, I was so overwhelmed with the joy that I got so sick. And I never get sick, ever. It's a very rare occasion. Maybe once a year I'll get sick, if that. And it's usually from allergies. And I got really sick. And I know it was my body sabotaging me. I know it was my body reaching to new levels that it was not comfortable with. I have not felt joy, pleasure, and bliss. Like when I tell you the state of bliss I was in, just knowing that my resources were unlimited at that time. I was in a new place. I was being totally led and taken care of. And I had nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. All of my clients, I think I signed on like 2 new clients right before then. And there was no worry. And that's joy and pleasure. And that was my first little taste. And I was like, wow, I want more of this. And even though I was sick, I still enjoyed it. And I would also relate that to peace. And I just wasn't used to being that high up in the vibrational spectrum. And my body sabotaged it. Like, even though I didn't sabotage it, my body found a way to sabotage it. And so that's what happens even when we're in the best relationship of our lives and we have the opportunity to feel so much love. Sometimes we mess it up. When our life's been going so good and we've been in such a state of peace, we've got to throw a wrench in it and revisit that chaos. I did it recently, actually. I was out to dinner with my friends and I was like, let's go do something crazy. I was like, I'm craving chaos. I even wanted to go take a trip back to New York City and revisit the chaos. They're like, you need to slow your roll. And it happens. It still comes up sometimes, especially when things are going really good. And I just started a program, a community, which is called the Money Expansion Club, which helps you do just this in the realm of money, but you can really translate that into any area of your life. And it's been going really well. People inside the Expansion Club have been getting amazing results. And I had started that program and I knew everything was gonna, like, from there, I was rebuilding and restructuring my business to a place where I knew was going to bring me more peace. I knew was going to bring me more joy and pleasure, more of those vibrating emotions. And I was trying to sabotage. I was like, let's go get crazy. And like, I don't drink or anything, but I was like just wanting to go stay out late and go cause some havoc and throw a wrench in it. And my friends were like, we know exactly what you're doing. I hang out with mostly coaches. So thankfully, definitely get some friends that will have your back because we're not perfect. And you go through it. So that's really all I have for you. It's really all I have for you. And I would love to know in the comments what you think about this and where you feel like you lie on the spectrum. And also, if you enjoyed this video or if you took any notes, if you have any notes, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to know them because what you learned may help somebody else. And that's all I have for today.